your SEO services. It's one of the most difficult questions, especially when you're starting out in an agency and you don't know what other people are charging, you don't know the real value of yourself. Obviously, you know what your overheads are, and I think when I first started out as an agency, I knew what my overheads were and I based the pricing on that, which was obviously the wrong thing to do. So I was still massively underselling myself, but I knew I had to hit a specific figure to be able to pay the rent, the staff, and give myself a standard wage and things like that. So how do you price SEO? It's a real hard one, because obviously you're not selling man hours, you're not selling bricks, you're not selling anything that's tangible. And people will often question, why are you charging X, Y, and Z? And I think you have to, ask yourself, what is your knowledge and experience worth? Or what is the value to a business if they do SEO with you? If you do $3,000 worth of SEO for a guy, what is he likely to get in return for doing that? Or you might do SEO pay-per-click, social media, a whole mixed bag of digital marketing campaigns, as well as building a guy a website. And you might have a budget of $5,000. What does that guy get as a return on investment for spending that $5,000? That is the question that should be asked. If someone spends $5,000 and makes 55, great return on investment. If someone's spending 50 and only making 55, they're going to question it. So as long as people are doubling up, trebling, quadrupling, whatever, 10 times in their money, people are not going to argue with whether they're getting a return on investment or not, and they're not going to really argue too much about pricing. I think many of us fail in the agency world because we're undervaluing ourselves, underpricing stuff. If a guy comes to you and says, I've got $200 a month, I want to rank well for roofers in Aberdeen, not necessarily that competitive, but for you to rank well for roofers in Aberdeen and take that client on, one, you have to have a SEO tool to be able to report to the guy and do keyword research. SEMrush, cheapest price, $99, so half your guy's budget is gone already on reporting. By the time you make a living from that, you could barely pay for SEMrush and the time for you to compile a report to send that guy, let alone buy any links, do any technical SEO, add any content, or do anything else, which is why you can't really get SEO at $200 a month, because there's just not enough hours to do anything that's likely to move the needle. So you have to, weigh up your costs. How much it costs for you to get a page of content? How much is it costing you per link? How much does it cost for you to get an audit done? How much does it cost for your developer to go in and fix those changes? How much profit would you like to make as a company? What are your overheads? And what you've got many other things to ask yourself before you make money. Most businesses will probably run at a profit margin of around, no less than 35%. It's just not worth it. You've got to have a profit margin of at least 35%, but most people will have a brain will be running at 50+%. So you really have to be doubling up on all your prices. So if your cost as an agency owner for doing a campaign for a guy is £1,000, by the time someone adds the content, adds some links, then you have to be charging them too. Where do you justify your fee from? Obviously the reporting, but people are buying your experience, and your rankings are not there to nail you down hour per hour or whatever. And obviously when you're pricing stuff up, make sure you leave room for upsells. Guys cannot get hourly consultancy calls, additional reporting, free training, or any kind of additional work without you being able to charge accordingly for it. SEO is not all hedged into everything. I've had guys over the past want me to fix their emails, want me to look at the computers, and a whole bunch of other stuff, because they feel that's all part of the SEO service, and it's not. And you have to make sure that you set yourself up right from the get-go. What's actually included in your SEO services? Is it just consultancy? Is it doing the work? Is it development? Whatever else. And if it's not, and you do an audit and there's development fees, then you probably want to tell a guy, it's going to be $50 an hour for any development fees. It's going to be £200 a month for extra reporting. It's going to be £1,000 a day for training if that's what you want. You have to make sure that you manage these clients properly and charge accordingly. Never undersell yourself, and always bear in mind, guys out there will often want to or will judge SEO based on price, and they will probably go to a guy that charges £200 a month, but there's little to no value getting offered for that £200 a month. And do you really want that client? Probably not. A guy that's prepared to not invest in his business, doesn't care about his business, is probably not going to be a good long-term customer for yourself. So just bear those things in mind when pricing. You know, no one can tell you what you should and shouldn't charge. Just value yourself, value everything else, and make sure that you keep the customer at bay, and make sure that you do have the opportunity to upsell, cross-sell, and everything else along the way.